Welcome back to the final commentary for Chronicles of the Chroniclers 3, The Lost World. We're in episode 6, The Fall. All will be resolved.
I know that voice. I'm not afraid of you. None of us are.
Even my shadows can hide.
Again, with the things in the background that I neglected to make sure weren't there. I'm notoriously bad at it because, remember in Fallen Order, in the second episode, Tahu and Kopaka can be seen in the background of one shot, and that was something that nobody on YouTube will be able to shut up about. I made a mistake, and I continue to make mistakes, so maybe I deserve to be punished for that. That line is from Mask of Power. That line is from Mask of Light.
We're gonna fight!
When Makuta says shadows are everywhere and where they are, so am I. A lot of Makuta's lines in this film are actually from either Mask of Power, I said it again, Mask of Light, or Legends of Metru Nui.
The responsibility of ruling over the Matoran was Matanui's. It was never
Again,
yours.
this kind of delved into the backstory that I kind of made for the film itself, based on the other actual storylines. But we never really get into that in detail in any of the seasons.
Man, come on. What are they waiting for?
This was shot a little poorly here with Matoro's death. It was kind of hard to do it correctly. There was one thing that was a line that I was a little disappointed didn't end up working in the film. It comes a little later, though. I realize I'm saying this at the wrong time. But there's always been a little bit of a rivalry between Huki and Akmu ever since Matanui Online Game 1. Akmu was selling... Huki mentioned it in the first episode, I think. Akmu was selling the... Koli balls that were laced with the Black Plague, and Huki got the plague and nearly died, and there's always been kind of a mistrust ever since. This sequence, this was actually one of the first things that was planned out for this film, was how Makuta dies. And this part might be a little confusing, but Takua just blew up the Mask of Shadows, and the Mask of Time...
Time is mended. Spell the Mask of Time.
Altair earlier in the movie said that time would collapse upon itself if it wasn't fixed. And that was time collapsing upon itself, but luckily the Toa accomplished what needed to be accomplished right before time collapsed. It was kind of poorly explained, I'm sorry.
Without the Mask of Time's power, they must return back
I
to
missed the part I was gonna explain about the line that I'm sorry didn't make it into the film. There was
I'm afraid so, my little friend.
I mean, it's not like it had much impact, but I was kind of fond of it nevertheless. It was when right before the monument falls on Makuta, Takua shouts out, "Brace yourselves." I don't exactly know why I'm so fond of that line.
You as well.
Probably because it took me like 5 tries to do it, but that line didn't make it into the film.
The Potter, didn't we destroy those pillars?
Now, the ending of this film was completely redone. I mean, the original ending was never shot, but it was rewritten drastically. It originally just ended there, and there was no time alterations or anything like that. It was just that the Makuta died, and it was the end. But then I wrote it, changed it again so that the Toa come back to life for good now, instead of just being like past projections of themselves brought back through the Mask of Time. And also Jaller and Matoro live now because the battle technically never happened. The original script was just going to end with Jaller and Matoro dying, because I wanted to have it kind of like on a bittersweet note. But when I actually sat down and thought about it, with everything involving the Mask of Time, I thought there's so much I could do with that, opening with time alterations, so there was no way I could actually just leave that pass. So, as much as I wanted the bittersweet ending, I wanted the time alterations even more, because that's something you don't always get to deal with in films.
So,
You can do
So
a
that
bittersweet
means-
in almost any film,
Battle we fought
but
on this day.
not all of them give you this kind of an opportunity in story-wise.
Battle never happened. Does that mean Jowler and Motoro were still...
Takua?
Jowler! Motoro, you're alive! But you died! Both of you!
Well,
I'm not entirely
I
sure
didn't.
if that was
Takua, are you feeling
a weak
okay?
performance or if that was one of my better
Neither of them had any
performances.
remembrance of the night's
I'm-
event.
I have a hard time critiquing myself,
Only
and
in
I
our
hate
memories,
talking
however.
about
It no
myself
longer
like
exists in
that.
our world.
So this is it? It's over?
Yes.
Shannon and I made fun of Frank for that line, the yes, because we kept saying, he did it like 3 times, and we kept saying that every time he did it, he sounded like Professor Snape from Harry Potter. The yes. This was I pointed this out earlier, this is the same sequence from episode 3
That's an
when
amazing
Jowler,
story.
Motoro, and
Don't
Onua
you
are walking
believe us?
by.
Of course I do. It's
And again, this
I
is
don't
the
understand.
second Jowler
I guess it
recording
would be.
because
I can't quite
this
wrap my
sequence
own
was
mind
written
around
in last second, like I said,
what will
because
we do
originally
now?
had the ending
If
where
the
Jowler
Warden
died.
never happened,
Like,
then
for
there's
good.
really no
Never
need to
came
go
back to
on.
life, but
No, Hallie.
obviously it was
If I've learned
rewritten.
anything from this experience, it's that there will always be need for the Toa. I'm staying alongside my brothers and sister.
In a way, I
It's a
kind of like
Toa's
this
duty
ending
and
better
destiny
too,
to stand
because
united and protect the Matoran
the
from
last 2
harm.
lines of this
So it
film
was,
are said by
so it
Takua and
is,
Jowler.
so it
The
will be.
Jowler
I must
says,
go now to be with them.
goodbye
knew
Takua,
you had
and
a sense of
Takua
pity.
responds, for now,
Deep
Jowler.
down.
Those are the exact same closing lines from the first season. I mean, technically they're not the closing lines in this film because Holly does have a narration there at the end.
Takua. Goodbye.
For now, Jowler.
And the music swell. I love the music swell. Music is my favorite part of any movie making process, I have to admit. I can't write music, I really wish I could, but I just love music in general. Unless it's like Justin
Times of great
Bieber or
struggle,
One
we learn the
Direction
true value of life.
or auto-tune.
It's here that our story ends.
Modern music
Now up
sucks.
to you to make new stories. For just like the Toa have their duty to protect, the chronicler also has a duty to record the present so that future generations may know our past.
Oh, is that know our past? Well, that works too. I forget my own script. Alright, and that's it. Thank you all for watching, and maybe if you guys liked this commentary enough, I'll do a commentary for the first 2 seasons as well. Until then, this is Sam Schoenberger signing off.